Hello, everybody. Welcome to another weekly market analysis for F45 trading. This week has us for the week of Monday, July 2nd to Friday, July 6th. Just keep in mind that there's a whole bunch of news this week that has come out and or that's about to come out. And if I were you, I would personally be staying on the sidelines for the majority of this week. Mainly because, Monday may be an okay day. I'll talk about that here in a second. But obviously, there is a 4th of July is happening on Wednesday, bank holiday for the US, bank holiday for the Canadian dollar on Monday. And then there's obviously non-farm news and major cash rate news events all through the week. And then obviously all the big fireworks are on Friday, the non-farm equipment numbers coming out. So, like I say, it's not going to be a great week of trading. I don't believe there's going to be a lot of volatility in the market, which could be good or bad, depending on which side you're on. But I would just highly recommend that you maybe just sit out this week and observe as to where price could be going. With that being said, looking at the news events, there is some pound dollar news happening on Monday, right out of the gates, which is at the time of this recording about 4.5 hours from now. So there could be something there that we could look at. And again, being a long weekend for some bank holidays, Canadian dollar, and then the July long weekend, or sorry, the July holiday for the U.S. It might make things a little bit interesting. So I do see though that there's a lot of Australian dollar news coming into Tuesday with the bank rate and trade balances on Tuesday, rate statement and everything else. So that could create a bit of an opportunity as well too for the Australian dollar. So I'm going to run through that really quickly in my analysis. I'm going to talk about the pound dollar, a little bit about the euro. There's not a ton of euro news this week, so I don't know that I'll be talking about that one a whole bunch, other than just kind of where I think it's going to be heading in the for the rest of the month. And I'm going to quickly, briefly run over the U.S. The Canadian dollar as well. So flipping over to the charts. US dollar, as you can see, price came in and made a new high last Thursday, taking out the old high, and the new high comes in on this chart anyway at 95.23. So I was calling about 95.20 on the weekly chart that I thought would be a very logical area for price to come into. Oops, I didn't mean to. 23, there we go. That's the high right there. And that just basically coincides with this area right in here. I'd mentioned that I was looking for this small area here above these two equal highs here to get ran and bang up into the small consolidation area here on the weekly at 95.20, and that's exactly what price has done. It's come through, hit it right in here and rejected. So far, and again at the time of this recording, price has ran down on Friday, closed lower, and now it's starting to push back up for the start of the week. What I want to see happen here is what price does at this level right here. 94.70, I'd even say 94.80. I want to see if price has any willingness really to go through this level here. If it does, we could potentially see price run back up and challenge the old highs again. Again, flipping back to the weekly, if you can see how price is really wicking in here, created a wick here, wick, and just really has failed so far to close above the highs in here. I find that kind of interesting. This could be an area of resistance in here, where if the news this week and all the non-farm numbers coming out this week, if that doesn't push these numbers up, price up through here, I don't think it will. I think price could stall out and we could see this dropping. However, if price does run through this 94.80 level, very likely chance that we could then start to revisit these levels up in here and re-challenge the lows in here. And that would come in the way of about 96, 96.50, 96.60, somewhere in and around there. That would be the target on the upside. If price does want to come down off of this level here, if price comes up to 94.80 or somewhere between right here, current level, and 94.80 and decides to reject and we get a failure swing, I'd be looking for this low right in here to see if price wants to come lower then this small consolidation area right in here, where we have the tops of these candles here and the tops of these candles, somewhere in this area here. If we come down to that area, I'll be looking for that, any willingness for this 93.60 level to break and give way. And if we see that break, then I believe the bears will be in control of the market, and I think we could see price start to run back down to this consolidation level down here, which would be really the 90 levels, big figure 90 levels. So, unfortunately, we're sort of right in the middle of a range. I mean, if I took a fib from this low to that high, we are literally sitting almost smack dab right in the middle of that consolidation area right there. So this is one big long consolidation range right in here. Now the third thing that could very likely happen as well too is price could just sit here and consolidate indefinitely for a little while. So that would obviously lend to the euro and the pound dollar and all of cross pairs pretty much doing whatever they want, and some consolidating, some not. And so we'll just have to kind of keep an eye out on that as well too. So I think what we could see happen though is something like this to start out the week. We could see price run up to here, and this is, like I say, I'll be watching this 94.80 level, and then we could see this and return lower. I just typically would like to see areas. I would have liked to see this push higher later on in the week and then close higher. And I would have liked to see them start lower, running price lower, creating the low of the week early on, and then running higher if higher was going to be the ultimate goal. So, and that's kind of what I'm looking at on the US dollar. Now, going forward, uh, Euro USD, this is the other thing I wanted to mention as well. You can see here, I'll zoom in a little bit. Price made a higher high here, okay? See that? Price is making a higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. And we just finished making this higher high last week. The Euro USD failed to make that lower low. So this should be doing the exact opposite. So we made a low, we made a lower low, and then last week here when the US dollar was making that higher higher, this should have made that lower low. It failed to do that. So I kind of am looking at that as a potential divergence between the two, and we could see some strength in the euro. Now, here's the thing about the euro. They just came out, I shouldn't say just, about 2 weeks ago. So this would have been the 14th of June, came out with the announcement that they were going to start to stop quantitative easing for the euro. So what that's going to mean is they're going to start phasing it out by the end of 2018. Now, when that happens, it will, they're not going to do any interest rate hikes yet. They're going to save that. Draghi has come in and said that they're going to save that until the summer of 2019 at the very earliest. So it may not be tightening the monetary supply as of yet, but they definitely are not pumping any more euros into the market, which means the potential weakening could start to lessen. Now, here's the thing with that. This is pegged with the US dollar, okay? So Euro USD. So if this is gaining strength, like you see right here, and again, they've been doing that quantitative easing since I believe they started the program early 2015, and you can see the consolidation that had ensued. Now we're coming back up to a very, very significant level here. You can see the confluence at this 114.16 level, 114.60, 114.60. This is going to be a pretty big area of support right in here. So if price, going back to the US dollar again, if price does decide to push up and continue and take out that high, I would be expecting the same similar move on the downside on the Euro USD. And then I would be expecting this level to be the ultimate target and to get tagged. If it doesn't do that and we see a failure, I would be looking for higher prices to come out on the euro. And depending on the decline on the US dollar, we could see prices obviously even come up into this area in here, which would be 122, 70s, 122.80s. We'll just leave it at that for now. But you can kind of see what I'm driving at here. If we do see that, we could see a big significant drive higher. If we don't get that run, if we don't get that movement on the US dollar as expected higher, as I say, I will be looking for in the short term on the daily. I'll be looking for these areas in here to get tested and run out. So I would I would like to see 118.50. So this high in here comes in about 118.50. I'd like to see a stop run on that up to at least 118.60. That could be what they're driving at. But you can see in here as well, the price has been making a bit of a consolidation as well. It sort of popped its way out of here just temporarily to retest off these areas in here off of the small consolidation level. And then drop back down, but really hasn't, it's failed to really do anything. So it's definitely been consolidating, which would make sense given the level that it's at. As you can see here, if I drag this out, you can see in here how prices spent a lot of time in this area. It's consolidated in here just above this level, in here, in here, and now we're back in this sort of middle of the range consolidation area again. Now, this could just be a big bear flag that they're doing, and their ultimate goal is to push this thing lower. As you can see here, a bit of a bear flag is forming, but with that failure to run lower, it could lend to some strength in the euro. And again, with that quantitative easing being announced that they're going to stop at the end of 2018, it could be lending to some strength on the Euro USD, on the euro. So we'll have to see if we do get that drop in the US dollar, then don't be surprised if we start hitting these numbers on the higher range. However, going into this week, I don't think we're quite done down here yet. I think this level in here, we could get run again at 1540. And maybe these lows getting taken out again. So there's not a ton of euro news this week, as I had mentioned earlier. It's really just the pound that's going to be making all the news. Just going to double check again. There's a little bit of euro news. There's some German news coming out on Thursday, and that's really about it in terms of news for the euro. So right now, this is going to be very, very dependent on what the US dollar does. I'm just going to I'm going to sit on the sidelines on the euro for now until we start to make a definitive break out of this area. But if price fails, and I'm going to put this on here right now so you guys can see, if price fails to get above 1740 and close higher than 1740, I'm going to expect this to run to the downside, and I'm going to be looking for the 1540 level to get run and taken out. If, however, we do break this 1740 level, then the next level I'll be looking at is 1860 to get run out and tested. And then where we go from there, it's just going to depend on what the US dollar is doing. Going over to the pound. Now, this one was an example of a lower low getting set out. So as I said here, price came down, set a low, set a lower low, and then failed. US dollar mirror opposite, created a high, higher high, higher high, higher high. The pound dollar has been creating lower lows. You see in here, a lower low, a lower low, lower low, and another lower low that set in last week, and then a rejection on Friday's trading. So, if the US dollar pushes higher, we will see this go lower. That's all there is to it. And I did identify some areas underneath here that I was expecting to get run out. Price has failed to get down there, but we did hit a fairly significant, oops, not that deep. we did have a fairly significant level. I was expecting these lows to get run out, but price did come in here on Thursday of last week and hit that low of 130. 48 one or 130.50 basically. So on the downside, a fairly significant level got swept, and I would venture to say that if that's as far as they wanted to go on the downside, this could be the swing lower that we were looking for, and then we'll look for price to run up. Now, this is what I'd be looking at. Whoops. This is what I'd be looking for on the upside. If this was the low, and I'm not going to sit here and call the lows and say that is definitely the low, but if it is, I would expect something like this to happen. Price to run down to about this level here, and then to reject, and then to run higher. And I'll be looking for this level right here, this high in here, to be the first target at about 134.75. That'd be about the first target that I'll be looking towards on the upside. So we're going to watch this again this week coming up. It's really going to be a week of studying what the market wants to do. There's a lot of news that could whipsaw price around. There's a ton of pound dollar news. Sorry, pound and dollar news. As well as a few other, Canadian dollar and Aussie dollar rate announcements. So price could really get moving around this week. So just be careful on your end. If you do any trades, make sure it's a demo trade or very, 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 very light on the liquidity or on the leverage side of things. Make sure you're not risking anything too high, especially on this week, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of high probability trades that come out this week. So just to kind of give you that idea now. Euro GBP, this one I kind of wanted to discuss as well too. Huge consolidation area that we've been in. Again, they had noted that the quantitative easing was going to be stopping on the Euro USD and that on the Euro, I'm sorry, and that should lend to strength for the Euro. And you can see price is starting to make a bit of a push to the upside. But not real convincing. I'd like to see this really start to break out of this level here. So I would be looking, if price does want to keep running higher, I'd be looking for a run lower on the counter trend side down to about this 88.20, and then I would expect a bounce to ensue from there. So something kind of like this. And then potentially we could start to see these highs getting run out. That's what I'd be looking for on the euro pound. Australian dollar. So this was another example of price coming in, setting lower lows, lower low, lower low, lower low in here, and then price has rejected. If that was the low here, I'm going to expect that this area right here should provide some support. And I basically have it on the chart here at 73.47. You could even say 73.50 could be a very, very high probability of a support level forming right there. If we don't see a break lower than 73.50, we could be targeting prices all the way back up here to 75.30. So I'll be watching for that this week. But again, I would wait on this guy here until at least until Monday's open started with the U.S. dollar, and then we start to see what's happening here. You see this 12:30 a.m. New York time rate statement. I would be waiting for price to potentially come and start slamming back down into this level for around there to see if we see any support in that area, and then I would be looking for a potential bounce higher if that is what's intended, if we are looking for that to happen. So that's what I'll watch for on the Australian dollar. Crude oil, as you can see, had a smash of a week. I mean, that was a huge movement on the pound, on crude oil. Haven't seen a week this big in a very, very long time. And I'm not buying it up here. I want to wait for price to retrace a bit. If it ever does, I don't know. This could just be the start of things to come for energy. I mean, we could see this thing start rallying all the way, up to these levels in here. See these lows that's created in here. All of these lows in here at $90. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's going to go straight up to $90 or anything like that, but that's where we could be headed if they decide to squeeze things enough. But There's a number of factors that are coinciding to this push in oil right now. I kind of think this is temporary. I believe the jets will cool on this and we'll probably see a return back down. At the very least, I think we could see a return back down to 69.20, 69.25, even right there, about 69.30. We could see a retracement back down to there, but we're just going to have to wait and see on this. Crude's very, very strong right now. I don't want to buy it up here. I would like to see a little bit of a retracement, and if we do get that, I will be looking to buy crude oil. So I'll update you on that going forward. And I'm going to do another, this one weekly forecast is getting a little bit long. I'd like to put out another one tomorrow on commodities, and I'll update you on that one here on Monday. This video is getting a little bit long, and so I'll save the commodities and I'll save crypto until Monday. I think there are a couple of opportunities that we could be looking for starting the week of July, first week of July. So I'll go through that in a separate video. Bitcoin here, you can see just took out this low last Friday, and then it's opened up higher on this week. I don't get fooled by that, though. I don't believe that this gap higher is going to be a push up into higher levels to come. I think we're still looking for lower levels on Bitcoin and other cryptos. So, but again, I'll do that analysis in another video, and I'll save that video for tomorrow. I'll try to get that out tomorrow morning if I can. And just for now, though, guys, I would honestly, in all seriousness, I would suggest that you sit on the sidelines for the next couple of days, at least until the 4th of July is over, the U.S. banking holiday, because market price could act a little bit erratic until then. And definitely, you don't want to be trading on non-farm on Friday, just as a side note. So anyway, that's my weekly forecast for you, and I will get back with you again tomorrow with another recorded video for commodities and crypto. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll catch you later.